Society have conditioned us to think that stress is something that is bad for our health. But even chronic stress, it's not bad for our health. Stress is a good thing. Now, let's define what we're talking about by stress, right? Stress is any type of change that causes physical, emotional, or psychological strain. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Best You've Ever Been. I hope you're having a great summer so far. I know I have been having a pretty busy summer. You may notice that I've had some sporadic, episodes, some gaps in the episode there. That's because it's the end of the volleyball season. We were coming, the last few months have been competitions and competitions with my daughters going to, I just got back from Minnesota from volleyball nationals, and my oldest is in Phoenix right now for a year-end tournament. So it's been a busy volleyball season when you've got three teenage girls doing club volleyball. So I apologize if you have missed me, if you have showed up and said, "Where's my new episode?" And Dr. Dell is not here. Well, here I am, and here I am shouting out to you again with a new episode today. So, before I continue, I just want to remind you that all the goodies I have for you are in the show notes, right? We've got so many good stuff for you. My latest webinar, the latest addition to my Get Your Sexy Back webinar for you ladies, right? Latest edition. I talk about the top 3 strategies I use with my female clients to help them break up with their diets, escape the weight loss trap and reclaim their lives because that's what they want, right? And in the process, learn how to feel sexy again. Gentlemen, I've got a new webinar coming up for you, so I haven't forgotten about you. We've got a new ebook coming up for you, gentlemen, a new webinar coming up for you, gentlemen. So look out for that in the next couple of weeks, okay? Today I want to talk about stress. It's a big topic. It's been a big topic. And, I feel like it's something that we need to talk about because it is one of the important areas, one of the foundational pillars of living an energized life, of being the best you can, of your lifestyle, developing a healthy lifestyle. The 4 pillars I teach my clients is, what you put in your body, what you do to your body, the quality of your sleep, and your relationship to stress. Notice I said your relationship to stress, how you deal with stress, because usually that is the issue. Stress is not a problem. Right? We all think that stress is a bad thing, but the truth is, folks, stress is not a bad thing. We need stress to thrive. You can't thrive without stress. If you were in a stress-free environment, you couldn't thrive, unless you were a monk sitting up in the mountains and just meditating all day, right? Seeking enlightenment. But in our world, we've conditioned ourselves. Society have conditioned us to think that stress is something that is bad for our health. But even chronic stress, it's not bad for our health. Stress is a good thing. Now, let's define what we're talking about by stress, right? Stress is any type of change that causes physical, emotional, or psychological strain. Now, think about that. Physical, emotional, or psychological strain. You can take that down a path of being negative, or you can take that down a different path of being positive. Think about physical strain. Can you build muscles without physical strain? No. Can you build emotional resilience without emotional strain? No. Can you build psychological health and resilience without strain. No. So stress isn't the problem. Our relationship to stress is the problem. And for you gentlemen, you see, we are built to deal with stressful situations, right? Running from a lion chasing you who's trying to make you its next meal. Now that's pretty stressful. Sitting in an office dealing with, a multitude of things, not as stressful, not life threatening. I'm not saying it's not stressful. We do have an abundance of stressors coming at us left and right today in our modern life. But how we deal with stress is the real issue, not the stress itself. You see, one person's stress is another person's challenge. And I like to look at stress as a challenge. If you change your paradigm, change how you look at stress, how you see stress, think of it as a challenge. And we need challenges to thrive. When we're able to deal successfully with challenges, we become better at dealing with bigger challenges. We're able to take on more challenges, right? You see, here's the deal. Most of us know that in stressful situations, the body releases cortisol, right? Cortisol is a stress hormone. And excess cortisol is bad news because it shuts down all the body's growth functions, right? All the body's growth function, meaning, gentlemen, testosterone production grinds to a halt for you gentlemen, right? Fat burning grinds to a halt because it has nothing to do with your immediate survival, right? So cortisol, producing excess cortisol is not a good thing for the body. What you probably don't know, that you haven't been taught, is that there are actually two stress hormones. Not one, but two stress hormones. Cortisol is just one. But during stressful situations, right, the adrenal glands also release another hormone in addition to cortisol. It's called DHEA. The role of cortisol is to suppress your biological functions and get you ready for fight or flight, like that lion chasing you, trying to make you a meal, right? You're in fight or flight mode, and when that happens, your body shuts down everything else and goes into survival mode. But here's the deal, guys. The role of DHEA, on the other hand, is to help your brain grow. Just as for you gentlemen, testosterone helps your body grow stronger, and for women too, testosterone helps your body grow stronger from physical activity. DHEA helps your brain grow stronger from stressful experiences. So you see, as it turns out, even chronic stress can either be a good thing for you or a bad thing for you. It all depends on the ratio of DHEA to cortisol, the ratio of those two stress hormones. And that ratio of those two stress hormones, DHEA and cortisol, we call that your growth index, right? Your growth index. A high growth index means that you have more DHEA than cortisol. A low growth index means you have more cortisol than DHEA. Now, here's why this is important. A high growth index, more DHEA than cortisol, leads to greater focus, superior problem solving skills, and less of the negative symptoms of stress like lack of concentration, depression, anxiety, moodiness, all the bad things we usually associate with stress. So when your body is secreting more DHEA than it is cortisol, then you have more focus. You have superior problem solving. You're experiencing less of those negative aspects of stress. You see how this works? When you're producing more cortisol than you are DHEA, then you're going to experience all the bad things that stress is related to. Lack of concentration, depression, anxiety, moodiness. I mean, all of those things that, when you feel stressed out and you're in the middle of it, that's because your body's producing more cortisol than DHEA. Now, here's Here's the thing, guys. Right? We talk about growth index. That's your ratio of cortisol to DHEA. But here's the thing. There's another thing you need to think about, and we call it your stress mindset. Now, this is according to research. The only thing that determines your growth index, that's the ratio of DHEA to cortisol, is your stress mindset. What's stress mindset? Whether you believe stress is good or bad. Let me repeat that. Your stress mindset is whether you believe stress is good or bad. And that is the only thing that determines your growth index. So whether your body produces more DHEA or it produces more cortisol, doing the exact same experience depends entirely on your stress mindset. So if you've been conditioned to believe that stress is a bad thing, guess what? Cortisol will dominate. If you change your paradigm and change your inner belief to one that stress is not bad for you, but stress is a good thing, it's just challenge, then you will start producing more DHEA than you will cortisol. Now this is important because this is mind-blowing, right? You think about it, because you think of everybody out there are talking about, every time you meet someone, I'm stressed out. You just talk about stress. And everybody talk about stress as if it's this bad thing. But it's not a bad thing. What makes it a bad thing is in your mind, you hold it as a bad thing. You think of it as a bad thing. But if you were to change that, switch that, create a new paradigm that stress is not bad, it's a good thing. It's challenge. It helps you thrive. Then you will produce more DHEA than you will cortisol. You will have greater focus, greater concentration, superior problem-solving skills, less experience, less of the negative aspects of being in those stressful situations. Like I said, folks, your stress mindset happens to be what we call a core belief, right? A core belief. So we're going deep right now. You've been conditioned. Now, this is hard because you've been conditioned since you were kids to think that stress is bad. So that's part of your core belief. And you see, core beliefs have the potential to shape how you interpret your experiences and how you make decisions, how you interpret everything around you. That's what core beliefs are. So your belief about stress is a core belief, so it's not easily changed. Core beliefs are not easily changed because they are fundamental beliefs that shape many areas of our lives, how we respond to things that happen to us. That's all based on our core beliefs. So if your core belief is that stress is bad, then guess what? It is bad. If your core belief is that stress is good, stress is just challenge that helps you to thrive, guess what? It will be good for you. You will have more focus, more concentration. The more challenge there is, you will be on. You will thrive in that situation. But for the rest of you who think stress is bad, it's going to take a while working on changing that core belief, changing that mindset. Develop a new stress mindset. So your stress mindset, folks, shapes everything from your emotions, how you feel in stressful situations, to the decisions you make about what's happening. All right? It's not what's happening, it's your interpretation of what's happening. That's all based on your stress mindset. That's all based on some core beliefs that you've got in there. So this is what determines whether you thrive in stressful situations or end up burnt out, depressed, angry, or worse. But again, the choice is yours. If you believe that stress is bad, it will be. In fact, chronic stress will become debilitating. On the other hand, if you're able to embrace stress as a challenge, ladies and gentlemen, your level of DHEA will be greater than that of cortisol. And remember, a higher DHEA leads your brain to grow stronger because your stressful experiences will allow your brain to grow stronger. You will become more emotionally resilient, right? Higher DHA will lead to greater focus and concentration, superior problem solving skills. It will improve your health and vitality. And for you gentlemen and ladies too, another great potential benefit of stress is increased testosterone levels. But it all depends on your stress mindset. Really. It's all up to you. It's amazing how these things work. It's amazing how powerful the mind is. And we haven't been taught these things. So that's why I'm trying to point them out to you, so that you can start working on changing that stress mindset. If you think that stress is bad, well, you need to work on changing that stress mindset, because if you think stress is bad, then when you're having a day where there's just more to do than there's time in the day to do it, you're going to end up all stressed out and your experience is going to be debilitating. But remember, you have control over that. Whether or not that happens, or the opposite happens, that you're able to focus more. You're able to just get in that zone and focus on what needs to be done and see it as a challenge and rise to the occasion and rise above what is happening to you, taking charge of your mind. But in order for that to happen, you're going to have to do some work on changing that core belief. Changing that core belief that stress is a bad thing. Until you do, it will be a bad thing. So that is something we can work on, guys. That is something I will implore you to work on, because, our lives aren't getting any easier. It's not getting any less stressful. We're all overcommitted. We all have so many things to do, especially if you've got kids, you've got a family, you're working, maybe you're taking care of others, maybe you're a caregiver to parents. My clients are doing all of that, and we're all doing all of that. We're all doing more than we think we can, yet we're managing. However, your experience of the day really depends entirely on you. And I want you to really understand that. Your experience of that crazy day depends entirely on you. Whether you end up wiped out, stressed out, angry, depressed, moody, or you are able to go through your day and finish the day and knowing that you have risen to the challenge. You are in charge, and hey, I'm not going to get everything done today, and that's okay. And that's what I tell myself. Whatever I don't get done today, well, there's always tomorrow. I'm not going to get everything done today. I have never gotten everything done in a day that I've wanted to get done. And that's okay. And that's what you need to keep telling yourself. That's okay. Right? What are your top 3 priorities? You prioritize those 3 things. If you've got more than 3 priorities, you have no priorities. So what are your top 3 priorities? You focus on what are the things that are priorities? What are the things that are leading you to that future self, That's what you should be focusing on. Who you're becoming, your future self, the life you're creating, what you're working towards, those goals. Instead of the urgent things of daily life. Not that they're not important. A lot of them are. However, how you deal with them, how you think about them, that is the real issue. All right, my friends, that is all I've got for you today. I hope this has been helpful. So your assignment is to, if you think that stress is bad for you, go out and practice changing that stress mindset. Right? Practice developing a new core belief, working on that core belief. Every time you're in a stressful situation, remind yourself that, hey, this is just challenge. This is just challenge. This is just physical, emotional, and psychological challenge. That's all stress is. It's just challenge. And I can rise to the challenge. I can do this. I am better than this. I can handle it. Just remember, you can handle it. So just keep telling yourself, hey, I can handle this. I've handled worse than this. I can handle it. Tell yourself, I can handle it. Stress is not a bad thing. I can handle the challenge. You know, some of my clients like to say when I ask them to do things, they say, challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. Tell yourself, challenge accepted. Accept the challenge, rise to the occasion, and you over time will start to produce more DHEA and less cortisol, changing your stress mindset and thriving in the process instead of being debilitated by all the stressors in your life. I'm Dr. Del Millers, and that's all I've got for you today. Again, remember, check out the show notes for all the good stuff. I keep inviting you to sign up for one-on-one coaching conversation with me, and you haven't done that yet. So what are you waiting for? You know, if you want to create that future vision of yourself, who are you becoming? Who's the person you're becoming? What are you trying to do? What do you want to have accomplished? Who are you 5-10 years down the road, right? That's your future self. That is creating a future vision. That is what I sit on the phone and I help people develop. Who is that future self you're creating? And then from there, well, we work backwards. What are those non-negotiable and guardrail habits of your future self? What are the things you should be focusing on a daily basis if your goal is to get there, to create the person you want to become, the life you want to be living? Well, we create that future vision. Who's that future self? We work backwards. What are those non-negotiable habits of my future self? That is what I work on practicing every day. So over time, you stop thinking of becoming your future self and you start being your future self every day. You start being your future self every day. You start being your future self every day. You see how beautiful that works? For all of those of you who are trying to lose weight, well, hey, guess what? One of the principles I teach my clients of weight loss, one of the most important principles, don't do anything to lose weight that you're not planning on doing the rest of your life because you're going to lose it and just regain it. And why bother doing that? Right? So when you start being the person who has lost the weight already and successfully kept it off, well, what are their habits? What are their mindset? Well, we start practicing those now so that by the time you lose the weight, you're able to keep it off because guess what? You're doing the exact same things you're going to be doing the rest of your life. You see how beautiful this is? Very simple, but very powerful. So, check the show notes for all the details to my programs, and I look forward to our next conversation. I'm Dr. Del Millers, personalfitness.com, and as usual, may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. I'll catch you next time.